What's your name?
Tamar.
Okay, Tamar, how you doing?
Sister Tamar.
I'm
Okay.
Hey, all my brothers.
Yes, go ahead. You got
I just wanted to. Am I better?
Yeah, you better, much better.
Okay. I just want to say that I thank those brothers for tuning in on the show, because we really need to pass this information to our children, to our grandchildren. I've been a vegetarian for 36 years, but I went from being a vegetarian to being a soy vegetarian. So it's kind of a difference between being a vegetarian, a soy vegetarian, and being a raw vegan. And a raw vegan is, to me, is a person that doesn't eat fish, doesn't eat any flesh, doesn't eat any soy, doesn't eat any rice, potatoes and beans. It's strictly raw, the fruits and the fresh leafy vegetables. It's about discipline. It's about commitment. And it's a really hard journey, but you just gotta, you gotta want to have that passion and that fervor to want to cleanse your body. It's a struggle. It's kind of like battling a disease.
Yeah.
Because we've been it's been passed from generation to generation.
Yeah.
With that being very imperative that we start teaching our younger children about the human anatomy.
Yeah.
We don't know nothing about the human anatomy. All we know is that we got 2 arms, 2 eyes, 2 legs, 2 ears.
Yeah.
We got a body. Just think if all of our organs were on the outside of our body.
Right.
Then we would be able to see the destruction that we are causing to our organs. So I call this the new movement, the new religion, the new way of life.
Yes, This is liberation. This is liberation.
Yeah, exactly, absolutely. But I just want to give all my brothers over there a heads up. I love y'all. Keep promoting that healthy liberty. And we're gonna put it in the universe, and we're gonna have it flowing and growing. Y'all have a good evening. Thank you, Oginga. Love you.
All right, love you too, sister. Thank you very much.
Tamar.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, there's Sister Tamar, and 513-749-1444 is the number. And if you want to call here, you want to ask Brother Air or Professor Spira a question pertaining to the subjects that we're talking about and health. And a lot of times, and I appreciate the people, all of you, that have called this evening, but I will say this, and this often happens. Whenever I'm doing pieces at the radio show about health, the phone hardly rings. And I often wonder why. But if I start talking about white folks versus black folks versus white folks, police, dealing with brutalizing brothers and sisters, and all of those things might be real, but I don't think that people take it serious, that this health piece is serious.
It's the reason why all that other stuff happens.
Right.
That's the reason, because these folks are constipated and can't control themselves.
I mean, find me one police officer that has beat and brutalized and murdered anybody that was unarmed that was not a pus eater.
Yeah.
And a mucus eater. Yeah. Find me the fruit eater or the plant-based cop that's running around bashing people's heads in.
Right.
Look at the diet. Look at if these people are so-called public figures, and these are our representatives, and then we should be looking at their diets. Because, like we said, our politicians must be constipated. And if you want to do some math, I got an SAT question for you. Add up the pounds of uneliminated waste. There's about 15 to 20 pounds of feces that's in all of us. Add that up and find out how many pounds of feces are in the Congress when they have a joint session and everybody's in there. That's
And we got another call coming in. I'd like for you to continue what you were saying, but we got a call coming in. We want to take as many calls as we can. My name is Oginga. The program is Talking Drum, and aired each and every Friday night from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, United States. And state your name and where you're calling from, and welcome to WAIF.
Yo, this is B on the west side, and I agree with that last lady, but I didn't want to interrupt the professor. It is good to hear the professor back on again. I talked to you last time.
Yeah.
You guys stayed on until after midnight.
Yeah, I remember
and you
you.
shamed me. You shamed me. You told me that shrimp was related to cockroaches up in Atlanta. And she said, yeah, that's true. And I said, well, I'm about to go set some traps underneath the sink then. And then you guys were talking about the pus and the blood. And it made sense. And for a while, I was doing it. And I was going out buying that Swiss chard, that kale, and it had carrot strips in it and spinach. I don't know. Are they referring to a Swiss chard or the kale, collard greens, or what? But anyway, what happened was I'm surrounded by grilling and juicy steaks, and I'm surrounded by. I'm a carnivore. You guys, Professor. I was brought up that way.
You have my deepest sympathy.
I tell you what, though. But when I did it for about a month.
Wow, well, that was good. How did you feel?
And I felt like Joe Frazier.
Oh, wow, man. Well,
I really did. But I weakened. You should come on more. I one question. The gentleman, did he say he hasn't eaten anything since the 1st of September?
Yes.
But you sound healthy and strong, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just...
If I were to do that, I would die.
No, you wouldn't if you knew how to transition yourself away properly. We're not telling people to do this.
Yeah, I mean, he's practiced the Mucusless Diet Healing System in a very, very Michael Jordan-esque way since, the early 1980s. So this is just...
I remember you told me, I asked you, when did you make your transition? You said about 15. And I said, well, there's no hope for me because I'm in my 50s. And Oginga was talking about...
It's always hope for you, brother, to change.
Well,
you can always change, man. It's never too late.
And true that.
I am surrounded.
And this is...
Look, you guys, don't you tell me that you guys don't get excited when you smell that juicy steak out there grilling in those ribeyes.
It makes me sick to my stomach.
Don't you tell me that.
It's not an excitement. It's a sadness that comes over ourselves and a disappointment
at a funeral. At the funeral pyre.
I mean, now
see, there you guys go again. And next, Oginga will be talking about catching fish out the Kamal. I can't take this.
Hey, brother, we appreciate you calling and remembering Professor.
Thanks a lot, you guys. Fun.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you. All right, yeah, and which is true. I mean, think about it. What Professor Spira said, and Brother Eric, he and I had talked about this a long time. Think about a fish. Now, I mean, they swim and they have whatever purpose, but they have their babies, they defecate, they urinate if they do, they die, they bleed. Say if some fisherman has hooked them on a hook and they get away, but they're bleeding.
They have a nervous system.
All of that blood and everything, that filth goes into the water that they're swimming in. So when I said that, eating fish, and I know there's a lot of people that do, and I have. I'm not telling you something that I haven't done, but I don't do it now. But it is like you could have a bunch of fish, say your favorite fish, be it a red snapper, orange roughy, a perch or something, and it's swimming in your toilet that you have used the whole week and haven't flushed, and that's kind of gross. And then you throw a line. Let me see this. You throw a line in there, and you get a fish and you just rinse it off and then you gut it and you fry it, but all that it has absorbed, think about what you're doing. So when you really think on those terms, and I know that's harsh, that's graphic, but that's what's happening when you're consuming fish. So we got to call her. We got to call her coming in.
People, I mean that's gross.
Yeah, that's real. Hey, look, you know, like they do sometimes young brothers and other nationalities when they have a scared straight and they take them to penitentiaries, and that's just a way from them to stay away from those penitentiaries. Well, it's a scared straight. It's for people to understand and realize and think about it, what you're eating. Now, we got a caller. Let me see if this caller is on. Caller, state your name and where you're calling from.
See, it's me again. I never double back and call back Oginga Khamisi. See, there you go again. There you go again.
Right.
I am going to Long John Silver.
Okay, well, you know, to each his own, and whatever floats your boat one day may sink your boat. So,
I heard about the jelly donuts, Oginga.
Yes, sir.
I read you. I feel you.
All right. Well, thank you,
all right,
brother.
Peace out.
All right, peace.
Well,
all right, go ahead.
Well, that's you were talking about. Oh man, I forgot my thought now. But you were talking about
vision outside in your toilet. That's what.
the toilet, and that took me to a vision.
Oh man, it's a horrible one.
Of scared straight.
Okay.
If you want to be scared straight, then flush eaters, and we're going to talk about those soy eaters too, because people who are vegetarian really have gotten really stuck on this soy, and it's very unhealthy too. Okay, and I'm going to let you get that in. I'm going to try this one more call and see where we can go with this. This is Talking Drum, and this is WAIF. State your name and where you're calling from.
Okay, I'm scared straight. You won. Man, you are so right. It's the first time I've heard the show. Well, really not the first time, but I learned something on your show, Oginga. I'm scared straight. Well, I never thought about it like that. You brothers taught me something. My name is Jimmy.
What's
and
up,
I'm telling you guys taught me something I never knew. And I was thinking about this, and I said, you know what? Even though these guys I talked about earlier were raised on it, but you guys are right, man. I'm not eating no more beef. I'm through with it.
Well, we have choices. It's all about having choices now. And our parents, sometimes people don't know that they don't know.
And they were put in a condition when they had to eat.
Yeah. So, so now we have choices and knowledge, and we can educate ourselves.
Yeah.
And we have years of watching people eat this mucus and pus and watch their downfall. And there's like a thread that threads itself to all these people we see having strokes, heart attacks, cancer. They all have the one thing that we can talk about is that pretty much their diets are the same. They're eating the same thing.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Jim.
Hey, Brother Jinga.
Yeah.
I'm gonna beat you up when I see you because you took my fish, man. You scared me straight with the pus.
Well, brother Jimmy, I asked you as an elder, name me a brother or a sister that you know who you knew was eating fruits and green leafy plants who had a heart attack.
I don't know of any, but see, I'm telling you this, you guys are like the last caller.
But see, that's why we should.
I'm like him. I'm like him, man. You guys right on point. I'm scared straight, and I don't know.
That's beautiful, man. If you can help.
Yes, sir.
Brother Jinga, about that cop, as y'all said about a cop, if you find a police officer who's a vegetarian who don't eat that pus, and he's not a murderer, that's the guy.
Not to say that there's not police who are not vegetarians. Right. I mean, I'm quite sure there are. But we're saying that
he's not as vicious.
Those vicious animals who out there committing these acts. And the same as the people that they're beating.
Yeah.
The people that they're beating are carnivores. Like we said earlier, this is carnivores against carnivores.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we have to break.
Jimmy, I thank you.
Brother Jinga, ask you something?
Yes, sir.
Ask you something?
Yes, sir.
What's the biggest animal in the jungle?
the elephant, as far as I know, and the tallest is a giraffe.
Wait a minute. He don't eat no meat.
No.
Right.
And who's the tallest animal in the jungle?
The giraffe.
Right.
He don't eat no meat.
And guess what?
Wait a minute. Who's the strongest animal in the jungle?
The gorilla.
The gorilla. He don't eat no meat.
Well, the gorilla and the rhinoceros. The rhinoceros.
Now, who's the biggest fool in the jungle?
The lion, I guess.
The man who walks through the jungle without no.
No, that lion.
Right.
That lion is the biggest fool. He's a meat eater.
Yeah.
But the elephant, he don't eat no meat. The giraffe, he don't eat no meat.
Right.
Them animals, they don't eat no meat. They're the biggest. And the gorilla, he don't eat no meat. He's the strongest. But that lion, he's a meat eater. He's a what you call him.
And if you could talk to that lion, and if you could talk to that lion, it would tell you, I feel terrible.
Yeah.
I feel miserable.
Yeah, like you got some medicine.
And really, let me just say this, and this, you know, I'm not trying to be graphic for anyone and spoiling their appetites, but maybe I want to.
Yeah,
and I am. Yes, we are.
Let's do
on
that.
purpose. But let me say this. When you talk about eating meat, what the lion does, even though it's a carnivore, but guess what he doesn't do? He doesn't eat his meat cooked.
No.
He eats it, he kills it, and eats it right then, raw. So that's the way, technically, if you were going to be eating meat, if you're a carnivore, that's what you're supposed to do. So think about that, brothers and sisters. You go to the local market, and maybe they just killed a cow or even a pig, those of you who eat pork, and you just say, I'm taking it home, which you have it raw like you have it, but you take it home and you don't have no pots and pans, you don't need none. You just start eating it like it is. How gross is that?
Well, these bourgeois black folks are eating this raw sushi. They're trying to, carnivore.
And where did all of that come from?
Well, carnivore is a carnivore. I mean,
Right.
it goes back to the history of trying to follow your oppressor.
And the other thing is that this talk that we're having this discussion, and the phone number is 513-749-1444. People, as Brother Air said, you can make choices. But to make a choice that is detrimental to your health is just, again, normalized insanity. Why would you do that? Especially as we get older, we got to pay more attention to our health because we can leave here real quick because it's been a slow process of all the bad stuff that we've been putting into our body, and it builds up. So when we get older, we just check out. But if you start now, and as one brother said, he's in his 50s or whatever, it's never too late to start to clean yourself up. And if you start that, maybe you only had 2 years more left on your life, according to your arteries and stuff inside of you, and the pus and mucus. But if you clean up your liver, maybe you will live another 15 or 20 years. And look what you can do with that amount of time. So I say, think about what you're putting into your mouth, because from our plates to our mouths, every day, many of us are committing the act of self-inflicted murder
and freedom. We hear that word, and the real way to freedom, to true freedom, is liberation, is physiological liberation. That's the real way to freedom. Me and Professor have talked about this for years, and we're building our paradise as we speak. You dig what I'm saying? And Sister Cora, and we understand freedom, and we know that freedom's coming this way.
And because we all know Sister Tikora, and the thing about Sister Tikora, probably one day, if she don't watch out, NASA is going to kidnap her, because she got so much energy.
Yeah.
She could send a rocket straight to the moon. But
she's the perfect example of vitality.
Right.
Of practicing the Mucusless diet and having that kind of vitality.
Yes, she does.
And that's what people need to see. It's like the brother said, he said, well, you sound healthy. Well, I mean, I look all right too.
Right.
You know,
right.
I mean, and I mean, I've only eaten maybe 10 months, 2 months out of this year. Literally, when I counted up. It's probably about 2 months out of this year.
Well, look,
So,
let's take another quick break. I let this run down to 6 minutes 26 seconds. So that'll probably get in that.
Is that the last 6 minutes of it?
Yeah. So it'll get that pus
yeah, that's good.
Pus and mucus in there.
Yeah.
But I want you all to hear this, brothers and sisters. We'll come back with my guest, Professor Spira and Brother Air, both musicians, both practitioners of the Mucusless Diet Healing System. Also, Professor Spira has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books here that he has done, and we'll talk about those. And websites will give that where you can get information about those books. But anyway, my name, again, is Oginga Khamisi. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm having a good time talking about diet or talking about live it because, again, and I appreciate all the people who are calling and have called. Every time I usually talk about health, the most conscious of people who may not be conscious because maybe that needs to be redefined are not calling because they're in poor health. Yeah. So much so that they're damaged and maybe even beyond repair. So, brothers and sisters, check this out. We'll be back right after this.
Yeah, we'll do that. You coming with you? You ain't got no gas?
brothers and sisters. Well, we got that piece that we just listened to, Mucus and Pus, but it's called Going to the Bridge. But tell me about that piece. Y'all went to the bridge. What bridge did y'all go to? Was it here in Cincinnati?
The Purple People Eater Bridge or whatever it's called.
Okay.
It's an eating bridge.
Yeah, the Purple
eats.
People Eater Bridge.
Yeah.
One-eye, one-horn, blind, purple people eater.
And it was out there playing music. Brother Air goes out there and plays quite a bit. I was in town, so I joined him, and we played a bunch of different things. And at the end of the night, we looked at each other like, let's play a piece. Let's do a free piece.
And y'all do some street musician pieces, right?
Well, that's a Sonny Rollins thing. Mm-hmm. If you know anything about jazz.
Yeah, Back to the Bridge.
And he went back to the bridge, and he would go practice, and that was kind of like it. So that was how that thing kind of came about for us, is just going back to the bridge in the traditional sense.
And both of you do a lot of street musician type
busting.
Thing.
Street performing, but it's called busting. We're like all into that, man. That's like the most freedom that you can have. I always tell folks, when you look at all the videos or pictures from Africa, you'll never see them playing indoors. They're always outside.
Yeah, right.
So that was one of the things why I wanted to play outdoors a lot. So
okay, well, let's talk about the books that Professor Spira that you have authored, and let's talk about those books, and then if you have a website where people can get information about the books, because we're a nonprofit organization. We don't sell any products here at WAIF, but and also, brothers and sisters, we're in the midst of our memberthon. You can still call in and pledge your $25 to Talk and Drum. I hope that you enjoy the program. I have an array of people on from time to time and different types of topics. So if you appreciate this, pledge to WAIF. Keep Talk and Drum on the air. Keep me on the air. Keep WAIF going, and we'll keep bringing you interesting programs like this. But Professor Spira, tell us about the books you have and their names.
All right. So first and foremost, Professor Arnold Ayers' Mucusless Diet Healing System, annotated, revised, and edited by Professor Spira. It is basically an annotated version of the original text. I got the original 4th edition, 1924 version of the Mucusless Diet, which is different from later editions. There was changes by the time you get to some of the more current editions that people don't talk about. But I basically went through, and there was a lot of questions that come up in terms that need to be defined and things for 21st century audiences, and I added that in there. It's not anything unlike annotated versions of Bibles and other pieces of literature that are important to people. There's usually some kind of critical work that analyzes things a little bit and explains some topics. So that's Professor Arnold Ayers' Mucusless Diet Healing System, annotated, revised, and edited by Professor Spira. We got Spira Speaks, Dialogues, and Essays on Mucusless Diet Healing System, Volumes 1 through 3. It's basically a compilation of my earliest writings on the Mucusless Diet Healing System. I started getting a lot of questions from people when I would put the information out there on the web that I practice a mucusless diet. There was people interested in knowing what I found out from being in a community around people that had practiced a diet, my own experiences, and I had an ability to articulate some of my experiences and some of the things that people had shared with me. And so essentially Spira Speaks is that. And if you want to know how to do the lemon juice and distilled water enema, Spira Speaks is your number one book. The bullet points on how to do that. Then we got Thus Speaketh the Stomach and Tragedy of Nutrition, Definite Cure of Chronic Constipation, and Rational Fasting, which are all by Professor Arnold Ayers, and you have a couple articles by Fred Hirsch and Teresa Mitchell. So those are just things that you want on your bookshelf, or you want to go to the library and request that if they don't have these books, they should have them. They should be in your local library. So go ask your librarian to make sure that these are in there. Oh,
well, of course, I got a last piece that I'm going to play this very much to what we've been talking about and, this world we're living in. But we got a few minutes here, 3-4 minutes. any lasting things that you all want people to know that you haven't talked about already?
I really wanted people to think about this, and sooner or later you're going to stop eating, willingly or unwillingly. But you're going to stop eating. So I want people to really think about that statement. And you know, and come to mucus-free-life.com. Professor Arnold Eric's group on Facebook. Got a beautiful forum there with some real educated people on there that practice and share, and it's just a beautiful site, man. I mean, you're talking about learn. I learn a lot, you know, just listening to people going through their transition. So that's what I wanted to say, man. Sooner or later, you're going to stop eating, willingly or unwillingly.
Okay, and Professor Spira?
And so I have a challenge out there for all the brothers and sisters that, especially leadership members of the revolutionary movements, whether it be Black Lives Matter movement or any kind of protest movement. Your next meeting or your next protest, my challenge to you is to address the physiology piece, to talk about the importance of physiology, of health, because as Brother Air says oftentimes, you can't be acting like you're a revolutionary and you're uprising in the protest, and yet you're going to the same restaurants, you're in the same drive-through as the cops that you're protesting against, or the government officials that you're protesting against. You can't complain about your oppressor if you live in like them. So I would tell you at those meetings, put that on the agenda. Physiology, the health and well-being, and the transitioning away from pus and mucus diet, and how to get that message out to the community, and how that could just elevate and take the whole protest movement to a whole different level.
All right, well, look, I want to thank you both for coming by. Peace and love, love and peace. And remember, spell the word community in lowercase letters and uppercase letters, UNITY. And so when you see the word community, you see the word unity. Push for unity in your families first, and then push for unity in your community, your neighborhood, the nation, the world. Peace and love, brothers and sisters. Stay strong, have a pleasant and a healthy weekend. Peace.
Brothers